Hey everybody,
Hi everyone,
Mr. and Mrs. Traveler here.
ElleKosGlam in our neighborhood celebration.
Oh, welcome and thank you so much everybody for tuning in today. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe our videos. We'd love to have you. Welcome to the Mr. Traveler family.
Welcome to our family. We appreciate it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up if you love it. Thank you so much.
And go to Facebook, go to the Mr. Traveler Cruise Lovers group too. Come on board.
Let's get started.
Today, guys, we're going to have a little fun. But it does make my heart so sad looking out there and seeing all those cruise ships sitting out there all alone by themselves. And don't you kind of wonder what's going on board? So anyway, Miss Traveler did some good research today. Just kind of dug in and found out what's really going on board these ships while they're not sailing with any guests. They do have a few special VIPs on board. So let's talk about it. What's going on board the ships?
Yes, I do. I wonder what's going on board. Is someone on the ship? Is someone off the ship? Is it totally empty? What's going on the ships that's sitting out there? It's interesting to figure out what's going on, what's life like while the ships is at a pause right now. Are they being serviced? Is it a ghost town? So I went ahead and digged a little bit, found out some information for everybody, and I hope you enjoy it.
While we do like this spot, we're gonna go have a seat over there.
Let's go.
All right, new location with the sit down.
We hope you enjoying this pretty scenery out here. It's about 82 degrees on a Thursday, and we loving this weather in Florida. We are going to be wrapping up quarantine very soon, so we hope you're enjoying the scenery. Another fun fact about today is it's the 40th anniversary of Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I thought about it when we did the video for Disney yesterday. If you haven't watched it, make sure you click right here to watch our video on Disney opening dates. They do a lot of Make-A-Wish foundations there and things like that. Their anniversary, the 40th anniversary, is today.
Excellent. Let's get to it. So what did you find out what's going on board these ships right now? Now, I will start by this because we were talking earlier today, and many of you probably heard the story how Carnival is getting some of their crew back home that couldn't make it on board, charter flights or commercial flights. Carnival is getting together their ships right now, 18 of them outside of the Bahamas as we speak. We're making this video, and they're getting together and they're going to use their mustard drill boats, the lifeboats, to shuttle crew in between the ships. And 10 of the ships are going to be going on, I believe it's 10, are going to be taking their crew members back home. So they'll be doing voyages to India, to Indonesia,
Philippines.
Yeah, so they're going to various locations, which is really cool. And they're going to be taking those crew home. Really exciting today. If you go on there and look at the webcam, you'll see a whole lot of Carnival ships near the Bahamas, and they're getting everything together logistically to sail home. A lot of the crew using, I believe it was 10 Carnival ships, and they're going to be going all over the world with the cruise ships. Kind of naturally, when you think about it, you say, wait a minute, they're taking all the crew members home now and it's May.
How are they going to sail soon?
Right, how are they going to get back in time for the July 1st sailing? They're just crew members that didn't make it off the ship before flights were canceled and all that stuff. So there are other crew members that have already went home and been home on vacation and probably were already off, on their off time when all this stuff happened. That's good news. And so, that means right now, everything else given, there'll still be green light with July the 1st, which would be super awesome.
I'm so excited. I think that's a really great thing that Carnival did, was to make sure that the crew gets home to be with their families because they've been at sea.
So I think that's very interesting that they're going home. And one thing that's important to note, because how in the world are we going to sail at the end of June when they're taking all the crew back home? We got other crew
that's coming on board
that have already been on vacation that were able to get off the ships early, that went back home. They're primed, ready to go and come back as soon as the flights resume. So they said they're ready to go at the end of June.
So your ship will be ready for you to go ahead and jump on it the end of June. That's the date that the cruise lines is aiming for. But I think that's a really great thing that Carnival is doing to take the crew home so they can be with their families who've already been here, and bring the crew back who's ready to come back, who's already been with their families.
Yeah, so I kind of spilled the tea a little bit. So obviously there are still some crew on board some of the ships. What's life like for those guys? What's going on board the ships?
But let's talk about the heads of the departments. First of all, I want to start with Royal Caribbean's president, the CEO, Richard Fain, the chairman of Royal Caribbean. So I think that's a great thing that they're doing.
I think it's awesome. So it kind of spilled the tea a little bit there, and obviously part of what's going on in the ships while we're not on there is there are still crew members on board.
Yes.
Now I imagine without us being on there, it's probably a totally different world. The captain is probably walking around in a robe with some kind of a scepter and a crown, like, you know, speaking to his loyal subjects, and then like the crew members on there doing cannonballs off the second story into the pool from the day. I'm just kidding, but
comment below and let us know what you would do if you had the ship all to yourself.
I would do a cannonball off the second floor into the pool. If I had the ship to myself, I would do the aqua theater. I don't know if I'd do that top platform dive.
You might do it.
But I'd do the middle one for sure.
You're pretty daring. You would do it.
I would do that.
Okay, so let's start at the top of the food chain. Richard Fain, he is the CEO and chairman of Royal Caribbean, and he is not taking a salary until September, which I thought was such a fantastic move during all this virus stuff going on.
You think he needs like a couple of middle-aged kids to adopt or something?
Me too.
That enjoy cruising?
We'll take it. The CEO won't be paid until September, and other executives agreed to a 25% pay cut as the virus rages the cruise industry, which I do believe we on the other side of the virus now. So thank God for that.
Okay.
So what's happening on the cruise ship as it sit out there all day and all night? Well, did you know that the cruise ship has to constantly rotate and keep moving and turning to get drinking water, purified water, and to recycle water on board? The captain actually has to make sure the ships keep turning, and he actually sails for 1 hour a day, making sure everything keeps moving.
Yeah.
And the engines are working and everything. So I thought that was really interesting that they sail an hour a day, and also they have to make sure that the ship is rotating. What do you think about that?
We saw them actually doing that at Cocoa Beach. We saw like the Disney Fantasy was just, you could tell it was just anchored out there, and the wind was kind of taking it wherever it wanted to go. But then as we were sitting there, and after we got through the live with you guys, the Magic did end up sailing into the port, and the Wonder sailed out of the port. So the ships are kind of, that's another thing what's going on with the ships is ships are rotating in and out of ports to get provisions. So they get food, goods, whatever they need for the ship and for the crew to maintain, and hopefully they'll be going there to get provisions very soon for us to get back on board.
And the crew members are on board while still anchored. So the provisions for the crew will be dropped off each day on the ship. And yes, they have to actually still work on the ship. So there are crew that's on the ship.
And my understanding is too, and now obviously they're still working because they're underemployed. And I'm sure they're probably keeping up. They don't have to clean up after us on there per se, but I'm sure they have to keep up with the, you know, general maintenance, dusting, and all that kind of stuff. And you are out at sea, so you do have to keep up with the seawater around the ship. So you do have to keep up with that stuff. But my understanding also is that they do get to enjoy some of the luxuries of the ship. I think they get to go into pools and other things on there. So what other things do they get to enjoy that they normally don't get to enjoy?
So American crew were asked if they wanted to stay or go. Most crew decided to stay on board since everything is shut down in their homes. And just to let you know, the crew is perfectly fine on board. There's food and beverage for the staff, and on board there's cooking crews as well. The crew gets 3 meals a day. The crew eats, but not extravagant as the guests, which is us when we sail, but they still eat really good.
No tomahawk.
No la cucina, no tempiyaki, and no specialty dining whatsoever. But they do eat 3 meals a day, and they said it's good.
They don't have to be bothered with us.
So there is food and beverage staff on board as well. So as you pull up to the beaches or you go and you look at the ports and you see the ships out there, there are people on the ships, including the captain on the bridge.
Now, what about where they're staying?
Room and board and medical is also provided on board, and cruise ships is one of the safest places to be right now. So they decided to stay on board. Now what they're doing on board, some of the crew members are even taking guest balconies, cabins. So their cabins are empty, which are very, very tiny. So they're happy to be where they are. And on Mr. Traveler's favorite ship, the Symphony, they have free Wi-Fi and they get to stream free movies all day.
Ooh, they're on vacation basically. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, I trade polishing a couple of tables or whatever. Get a free cruise out of the deal.
Exactly. And some ships have already sailed crew members home. I know that Carnival is doing it today, but some ships have already done it. And the cruise companies are working on chartering flights to their home because no crew members can fly commercially. It's very expensive and there's not enough flights right now, such as Asia, the Philippines, and Indonesia, due to lack of airplanes at this time. So they are working on it. Okay, so who's on the ship right now? What crew members stayed back? Where there are engineers, there's ocean survey managers to check the waves and depth of the water and what the ship is doing compared to what the ocean is doing. There's aqua stage staff for like pools at the Symphony of the Seas. They stay back there monitoring the pools and everything. There is inventory crew, and do you know the stores are still open on board? The crew is shopping on board to make sure they have toiletries and they're putting money into their accounts. You know, they also have selling sign cards and they're buying toiletries that's provisions every day, and they have to make sure they keep up with their hygiene as well. And another fun fact is on the Symphony, they're having a fitness class every day, which is streamed inside cruise cabins. There's indoor exercising and meditation classes that they're taking every day, and it's being streamed inside their cabins. So there's an instructor on board in his cabin, and he's streaming the entire movies, or he's taping it and it's streaming inside the rest of the crew cabins.
They've been without guests for over a month now.
Yes.
So you think it would be safe for them to be together? You know, obviously they're not, catching anything out in the middle of the ocean. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I guess they're keeping it going.
Yeah, so all the ships are focusing on maintenance jobs like repairs. They're doing things that's not possible to do during a normal cruise operation. So if we were on board, we would be kind of in the way for the maintenance people to do what they need to do in the crew, but they're getting it done now. Like water recreations, areas are being revamped, pool benches are being separated at least 6 feet apart, the vessel exterior is being painted, and of course the machinery spaces with some essential overhauling is done as well. So they're making sure they do a lot of maintenance on these ships while we're not on there, so we can be ready to sail when we come aboard.
Yeah, it's a good time to do it. Get us out the way.
Also, the crew is making sure they practice 6 feet social distancing rule, which is 2 meters. They're making sure they stay away from each other and keeping distance because there's still crew on board.
It's going to be interesting what they come up with for the muster drill.
It will.
See what happens.
Another thing is that I didn't know about, that I researched and found out, was there's something called the public area technician crew on board. There's a whole crew that does this, and what they do is they go through the ships and they use what's called fogging mechanisms to disinfect the ships inside the theaters and tight places, the atriums. They use a fog on rotation for strict cleaning guidelines.
So that's probably what's going to happen with us once we get on board the ship, like when they have the times in between the dining and the theater. Yeah. That's probably what they're going to do. Yep.
So they're going to be using a fogging mechanism to disinfect. Like you said, they're going to be using it in between our dinner services as well as the buffet areas. And they're going to have a strict cleaning guidelines that's going to be in place by the time we board the ship.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's also safety drills that's happening on board with the crew.
Right.
So they have to make sure if they're living on the ships right now, they have to make sure they have the necessary precautions and emergency knowledge. So they do lifeboat drills, they do fire drills, etc. And they're still practicing those habits.
So it's not a total vacation. They gotta still stick to the routine a bit.
Yeah, they still have to work. So you would think they had the whole ship to themselves and they on vacation. No, they are still working under the captain. So to stay on topic of the buffet and dining, the buffet and dining areas are being constructed right now. There's going to be strict sanitation protocols that's going to be going into place. They're going to be put in place for guest hygiene. I think they're going to build some type of sanitation stations that you can walk in. They'll be touchless instead of us pushing for the sanitation to come out. Hopefully they'll be automatic where we could just put our hands under it and it'll just squeeze out and we use it that way. Another thing that's going to be happening, which is happening right now, it hasn't happened when we used to sail before, will be the new normal, is temperature checks. They're doing temperature checks on the crew that's on board, the empty ships, as well as the medical staff. Everybody who comes on and off the ships with provisions and deliveries will have to have a temperature check. And that's happening right now.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Obviously, if they're doing temperature checks, then they have medical staff on board the ship as well. So that's it, guys. So the ships are floating out there. They have limited crew, just kind of keeping up with the ship. They're making sure it's still running.
On the bridge, the captain and the officers are still there, and there's some crew, but not to where it's totally filled up all over the ship. There's not one empty ship out there. And if you can look, you can go right on Cruise, what is it?
Cruise Mapper.
You can go right on Cruise Mapper and see all the ships that's out.
So, and I guess like you said, like once a day, the captain comes out, takes her for a spin. Come on, boys, let's take her for a spin.
Let's go.
Goes for a circle or something.
For a circle. I don't know where he goes, but he goes for 1 hour every day. And this is all the ships. They want to make sure that the mechanisms are working, everything is in good order.
But I've been noticing them rotating a lot because we went to Cocoa Beach a couple of times, or past the pier. Time we went through there, we've noticed different ships in there. So they've got them coming in and coming out. Looks like they're just coming into the port to get the provisions and then going back out. So they're probably refueling, getting food, getting, you know, utensils and paper supplies and all that good stuff that they need just to maintain. So
we hope that you're hanging in there with the quarantine. Our quarantine will be lifting very soon. We hope everybody is staying safe at home, but we still are going to be careful. We're not jumping the gun as to going out and taking our masks off or anything. We're going to make sure we stay safe, and we hope that you stay safe as well. Thank you so much for watching today.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hey, keep looking at those port cruise ship cams so you can like drool over the cruise ship sitting there. Look at the cruise mapper and see them out there. Soon. And just dream about getting on that ship. So, and we're here for you guys whenever you're ready. 877-697-4470 www.mr-traveler.com.
Thank you so much for watching. Life short.
Have fun, guys.
See the world.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.